at participating locations for a limited time. Prices may vary. Tax extra.
Most times, when you get something new, brag about it.
Woohoo, look at that interior. Nice, huh?
Kind of like you're trying to convince everybody you did the right thing.
Yeah, I got an incredible deal on this.
But with a new Harley-Davidson, you don't have to say one word. It'll do all the talking.
Super low, street bob, or wide glide. Black Wolf Harley-Davidson in Bristol will get you ready to roll. Come test ride with us or visit blackwolfharley.com.
All right, welcome back to Tri-City Sports Now. Steve Forbes will be joining me in just a minute. Actually, top of the hour, 9 minutes, I suppose. Talking about ETSU's victory, close victory, surprisingly close victory against the Citadel. You heard our sports update, Matt Polly, saying how Steve Forbes wasn't happy with it. Didn't like his shooting effort, et cetera, et cetera. I did want to, while we were here, there is one bit of college football news I could give you here that I think is actually somewhat relevant, relating to a team that wears orange, and it deals with Clemson. Jabril Robinson, he was a defensive lineman, actually was one of the stars in the Clemson Tigers' victory this past year over Georgia Tech. He was named co-defensive player of the game, okay? And 19th tackles, but he's going to be transferring. And he's going to be a graduate transfer, so he could play somewhere where if they offer his major right away. The thing with this is Clemson is going to have a guy named Christian Wilkins coming back, and then the idea with Jabril Robinson probably was going to have a tough time starting. So he'll be a graduate transfer, and the Clemson Tigers will lose some depth, but as long as they can avoid injuries, they should still be pretty good at defense, on the defensive line at defensive tackle, due to the presence of Christian Wilkins coming back from injury. So the Tigers would continue to be stronger. By the way, did you see where Clemson, they're already saying, if and when Nick Saban retires, we are ponying up with Dabo Swinney. We're going to, we want to keep Dabo Swinney. I know the big rumor, And yeah, sure, Roy Williams goes from Kansas to North Carolina after an initial hire of, what was it, Matt Doherty, I guess. But I would say that the one thing that I've always felt with Jeremy Pruitt getting hired there is that if he does well at Tennessee, if and when Nick Saban leaves, if Pruitt were to beat Alabama one year, I've got to think the Crimson Tide faithful would say, bring him back. And I think that's kind of something to, but a little bit, you can say that I'm being, I think it is a cause of concern for the future. Alabama, of course, is the national champion. However, there are people that just don't think that is the case. And they include Florida lawmakers who want to have Central Florida National Championship license plates being made.
Their undefeated season and their Peach Bowl win over the Auburn Tigers. But despite their perfect record, the Knights didn't make the 4-team cut for the college football playoffs. Alabama now holds the national championship title. Still, some lawmakers don't see it that way, including State Representative Jamie Grant, who's an Auburn graduate. Not only are they pushing to add 2017 national champions across the bottom of UCF specialty license plates, the bill would also create a specialty tag for Auburn University, making it the first out-of-state college to have a plate in Florida. Samantha Jordan, ABC News, Orlando.
Well, how many out-of-state school plates do we have here in Tennessee? I've seen Clemson. I've seen a lot of them. I think I've seen Alabama, too. I don't know about Central Florida. I know we've seen Kentucky. Okay, so Central Florida now saying we're undefeated. Even if we played in a schedule out of the American Athletic Conference, we deserve to be the national champions. And more than a one-loss team from the SEC. All well and good. I guess we don't hear mythical national champions, but hey, leave it to UCF to make sure that it would be as much as possible. I know that Science Hill, actually, back in the 90s, there was a Science Hill quarterback who went to UCF when they were developing their program under Mike Kruzak. Anyway, but it's kind of interesting. Damian Harris, running back for the Crimson Tide, he saw this and he tweeted out that when he saw pictures of Central Florida holding a celebration of being what they think are the national champions in front of their fans, and he tweeted this out. It's priceless. "These pictures are live. Hey, where can I find one with y'all holding a trophy?" And then he shows a picture of himself hoisting the trophy of the national champion. There are going to be some people that say, well, that's why you ought to expand the playoff. Just remember, there's always going to be somebody who thinks they belong. If you expand it, and I don't necessarily like that because I don't really want 9-3 teams playing for a national championship. I want to have some value to the regular season, unlike college basketball, which really doesn't. Okay. In my final 2 minutes in this segment, I want to tell you this. The story Dustin Long, NBCSports.com, comes up. New pit roads will present challenges not only to teams, but the drivers. And some things to remember here, as Speed Weeks begins in 2 weeks, Daytona Speed Weeks, you'll now only have 5 guys on pit road instead of 6. So you will have the gas man can only fuel the car. He can't, after he's fueled the car, then work on the lugs or something like that, or the tire. And the idea here is now who's going to be able to handle what role? For instance, will a jack man carry a tire now? How will teams handle taking the right side tires back to pit wall? I don't think this is a very good thing, eliminating one person in the pit crew. I'm going to have to ask about Jerry Bonkowski why they do this. The idea is it's going to take pit stops. If they took 10 seconds before, they'll now take 12. I don't understand how that helps out anything. Okay, efficient pit crews, but teams are always benefiting from efficient pit crews. I don't understand why you would want to have fewer people and longer pits in this day and age. Makes no sense to me. But interesting piece, Dustin Long, NBCSports.com. Check it out. How the pit rule changes going from 6 to 5 might affect NASCAR next year. Steve Forbes is next. Tri-City Sports Now.